ever notice how minimalists always seem to have their shit together? They're all about having less, being tidy and organized, decluttering. They only buy things that they see joy and value in. There's a lot of really good habits that we can learn from minimalism. I definitely don't think it's necessary to declutter your life down to 2 shirts, a single spoon, and your toothbrush to be able to benefit from minimalism. In fact, I'm not a full-blown minimalist myself. I tend to lean towards more of a minimalist-ish lifestyle. I have too many clothes for the minimalist police to be happy with that. But it hasn't stopped me from maintaining a lot of the beneficial habits from minimalism in my life. So in today's video, I want to share with you the 10 minimalist habits that can help improve your life in 2024, even if you're not a minimalist. And I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, AG1, but I'll talk about them more a little later on. So let's get into it. Number 1 is to keep a wish list. This habit will be a game changer for you, especially if you struggle with things like impulse buying and overspending. See, I used to be a full-blown shopaholic, and not in that shopping is my cardio cutesy kind of way.
It's not just email, you can shop online.
Oh, no, shopping is my cardio.
So back in 2019, when I decided to tackle my emotional spending habits and put myself on a journey to get out of my $120,000 of student loan debt, one of the main habits I had to learn to implement was delaying gratification. I really had to learn to shift my default setting away from I want it and I want it now and more into a that's nice, but let's wait on it. And one of the ways I was able to do that was by implementing a wish list. All I do nowadays is just keep it in the Notes app on my phone, and I give myself a minimum of 24 hours to sleep on something. Although nowadays, I like to stretch it out even longer to things like a week or even a month, because then it just really gives me time to think about if I actually want something or not. If you do this, I think you'll be shocked to see how many things you thought you wanted versus how much you actually do. And the other benefits of this is that not only does it help minimize your impulse buying, but it just keeps the things that you do want to buy a lot more intentional, and in a way that sort of trickles down into things like minimizing clutter in your home, and ultimately teaches you patience and delayed gratification in the long run. Number 2 is to win with a majority vote. So your habits are the path to changing your identity. And James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, says, the most practical way to change who you are is to change what you do. So every time you choose to do or not do something, you're voting for that identity. So if you want to build new habits in 2024, choose behaviors that vote for that identity in the majority. For example, last year in 2023, I wanted to become a gym girly. I just found that I was really tired of being inconsistent with my gym routine, saying that I was going to show up and work out and then not following through. So last year I joined a gym and signed up for small group personal training sessions. So every time I showed up at the gym, I was voting in favor of becoming a person who works out regularly. So remember, as you shift your habits this year, that elections are won by a majority vote. So as long as you're acting in favor the majority of the time, then you're going to move in the direction that you want to. Number 3 is to make it easy. If you want to make your 2024 all about simplifying, then I think it's a great opportunity to do a little audit of your day and see where you can make things easier. So if you find yourself doing things like standing in front of your closet every single morning, just staring at your clothes and feeling like you have nothing to wear, try editing down your wardrobe to a capsule wardrobe that's full of your favorite clothes to make getting dressed easier. Or if every single morning you find yourself rushing around trying to put your lunch together before work, try preparing it the night before so it's an easy grab and go. I think it's all about noticing the little opportunities in your daily routine that could use a little tune-up that ultimately will make things easier for you every single day. And speaking of simplifying and making things easier for you, that's where I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, AG1. I've been an AG1 stan for over 3 years now. I drink it every single morning, and now it's an integral part of my daily health routine. I just really love the convenience of having everything I need in a supplement that comes in a single scoop that you only need to take once a day, because that way it just makes being consistent really easy. The AG1 supplement contains 75 vitamins, probiotics, and superfoods to help support your focus, energy, gut health, and digestion without the need to take a pharmacy's worth of supplements multiple times a day. It's also dairy-free, gluten-free, nut-free, no GMOs, and it doesn't contain any eggs or sugar. And unlike other greens drinks I've tried, it actually tastes good. It doesn't taste earthy or too green at all. In fact, it has a kind of nice sort of vanilla flavor to it, and it blends really well so that it doesn't get chunky or gritty in your drink. So if you're interested in trying AG1 yourself, they are giving my community a free 1-year supply of their vitamin D K2 drops and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. It'll all be in the description down below. Your support of my sponsors also supports me so I can keep making these videos. I appreciate you and I hope you check them out. All right, let's get back into the video. Habit number 4 is to set it and forget it. And by this, I mean set up some automations where you can. And for me, the most significant place that I've done this is in my finances. I've got my bank set up so that every time I get paid, a certain amount goes into savings, a certain amount goes into investments, and I also have my bills automated so that they get paid every single month and I don't have to worry about missing it. For me, this minimizes the mental load of having to rationalize with myself on whether or not I should spend that money or how, and it creates a positive habit without you having to put much effort into it at all. Of course, you do still need to do things like go in and manually check to make sure that things are getting paid properly and that you're not being overcharged. Or another thing that I still do manually is go in and buy my investments once that money enters my accounts. But half the battle is just making sure the money goes to where it's supposed to. So when it comes to my money, automation has been the best way to do that for me. Number 5 is to spend according to your values. Minimalism, minimalist-ish, whatever you want to call it, it's really all about focusing on things that you see value in and cutting out things that you don't. This, of course, applies to your stuff when you're decluttering, thinking about what you want to keep versus what you don't, but it also applies to your money and how you spend it. I believe that money is a tool to really help you curate the life that you want to live. But when you don't know what you value, then I think that's when you can really end up with a whole bunch of junk you don't really care about, cluttering up your space, all while simultaneously draining your bank account. So instead of trying to do it all, just choose 3 to 4 categories that you love to spend money on and cut out the rest. So for example, for me, I love to spend money on things like health and fitness, food, and clothes. But on the flip side to that, I don't really care about the car that I drive. I use most of my electronics until they die, and most of my skincare comes from the drugstore. So I choose to minimize my spending in those categories so I can put more money in the categories that I do care about. So what is that for you? It could be things like travel, spending money on convenience, your pets, getting facials. But the key here is to use your money to curate. Use it as a tool to cut out the junk from your life so that you can spend more on the things that you actually care about. Beat procrastination with the 5-4-3-2-1 rule. Look, it is so easy to procrastinate, especially when you feel like your to-do list is just getting a bit too long. But instead of allowing yourself to get overwhelmed where those to-dos just pile up so much that nothing gets done, try counting down from 5 to help you get started. The 5-4-3-2-1 rule is another life-changing doozy from podcaster Mel Robbins that can help you beat procrastination. Here's what the rule says. The moment you feel hesitation to do something, you count down in your head 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then without a second delay further, you get up and start doing the thing. This rule has been life-changing for me because I've always said that the hardest lift is getting my butt off the couch. As in, it's always hardest to get started doing something, but once you're actually doing it, you tend to get into a flow state and finish the task, and it's never as hard as you thought it was gonna be before you started. I used this rule all last year to build a habit of consistently going to the gym. If I'm procrastinating going, instead of spiraling into my own resistance and thinking about things like, oh, now I gotta go put my gym clothes on and then I have to dress up and it's cold out, I have to hop on the subway to commute down there, forget about even picking up a dumbbell at that point. So when I'm feeling that way, all I do is count down from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and off I go to change into my gym outfit. So the first step in building a routine, whether it is starting to go to the gym or something else, it starts with getting up and putting on your gym clothes, putting on your running shoes, or doing that one thing that you need to do to get started. That's usually what you're procrastinating the most, so next time you feel that way, count down from 5 and see what happens. Do a 10-minute reset. I always say that a cluttered space can lead to a cluttered mind, so to prevent this from building up, I like to take 10 minutes every night to do a quickie little reset of our space before going to bed. This usually takes no more than 10 minutes, so I think it's a pretty low effort commitment to make sure that your day runs smoothly tomorrow. This usually means making sure there's water in the kettle so I can make my coffee first thing in the morning, doing the dishes and running the dishwasher the night before so there's nothing to clean, and tidying up my desk so I can sit down right away to get started on my work. You could also try things like picking your outfit the night before, showering at night so you don't have to worry about blow drying your hair in the morning, and resetting your living room so everything's in its place, ready to be used the next day. You can get a lot more done than you think in just 10 minutes, so set a timer and see what happens. Maximize your cost per wear. Minimalists are all about buying quality over quantity, so to me that means buying the best thing you can afford and using it out of it. This is essentially maximizing your cost per use, or when it comes to your clothing, your cost per wear. If you don't know how to calculate this, it's essentially taking the cost of the item divided by the number of times you use it. So if you bought a very expensive item, like my desk chair for example, she's the Mac Daddy of ergonomic desk chairs. It's a Herman Miller and it cost me over $860 when I bought it back in 2020. But I can guarantee you that I've sat on that thing way more than 860 times.
Oh, yes, sitting. The great leveler, from the mightiest pharaoh to the lowliest peasant. Who doesn't enjoy a good sit?
And it's such great quality that I'm sure I'm gonna get 800 more sits out of it. So even though my chair was an investment up front, I've easily gotten my cost per use ratio down to under $1 each time, so it's well worth the money. Now compare that to buying a cheaper item that you only used a few times because it broke or it just wasn't good quality. Then you may not actually be getting the best value for your money here. My mantra for 2024 is actually styling over shopping, so I'll be focusing on getting the best cost per wear out of my wardrobe this year to get that ratio down. This is such a great barometer to use before you consider making a purchase, but it's also one to make sure you try to maximize after buying something. So in 2024, let's focus on getting our money's worth. Number 9 is the I forgot I own this rule. One of my favorite rules of decluttering is that if I come across something and I say to myself, oh, I forgot I even own this, then I take that as a sign that it's time to get rid of it. Because if you forgot you even owned it, it means A, it's not that important to you, and B, it's like you never even owned it to begin with. So what's the difference if it's gone? And number 10 is to start with what you have. Just like delaying gratification helps you minimize impulse buys, so does shifting your mindset into using what you have first. Instead of immediately thinking about going to buy something to fill a gap, think about what you already own that can serve the same purpose. This, I think, can especially help you in your closet, where you can improvise with things you already own to create outfits and vibes that inspire you. In our world of abundance these days, it's become almost a skill or even a flex to use what you have. Of course, you may eventually need to or even want to buy something, but if you can get into the habit of thinking about what you already own first, or even turning to friends to borrow something, for example, then I think not only will it help keep the clutter at bay, but it'll help save you money in the long run. So those are some of the minimalist habits and mindset shifts that you can start today to improve your life in 2024. If this video helped you at any point and you watched the whole thing, leave me a little party emoji in the comments to let me know. We're in the new year after all. And let me know some ways that you plan on simplifying your life this year. Thanks again to AG1 for sponsoring today's video, and if you did want to try them out, you can get a free year supply of their vitamin D drops and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. I'll make sure to leave everything in the link below for you. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. The goal is to get through 300K this year, help a girl out, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.